Hi everyone. I'm back and it's March 3rd. There was a viewer that I don't read my YouTube comments because I've had four since I started my channel. So it's not something that I continuously do on any kind of regulatory basis. But she asked if I would bring Chester Bennington back, do another reading, and I I responded today and told her that I would certainly invite him, because if Spirit doesn't want to come in, they won't. And then I was just messing around at my desk, and my pen just kind of jumps in my hand, and it's Chester, and he's more than happy to come in. So, with that said, I'm not claiming anything here as fact. This is for entertainment purposes only. And never will I cease to say, after I say my disclaimer, that I do hope that you find some truth and entertainment in this. So, with that said, hi, Chester. Chester's happy to be here. Let's just say that. Andrea, I am here to carry on a further message to those whose hearts dawn for knowing me and the truth. Hold on. Ooh. Go ahead. Chester Bennington. He says, I have arrived in a carriage that takes me safely to a place of peace above anything else. That which I care to fall or descend upon my fans is that I am at peace, as if in the rainbow, ever reaching and stretching and landing on the sand. I'm good. Chester Bennington. Although united all may say was for their pleasure of viewing and receiving from my tongue what I had to say through he's saying rhythm and blues, but he's saying through his music and his singing. My voice held many. He sang castles. He's saying I was a soldier for the. Thank you for mentioning that. For your. He says I was a soldier for breaking down the fortresses, the walls. Do the strength that I had from my tongue, from my mouth, in the army that it brought me of fans. Sorry, I have a fly. Every time it gets serious, there's a fly around, you guys. I don't understand that. I used to just get so mad. Now I just kind of, I put in my mind that the fly is a little pet of mine that just feels like bugging me. So I'm not hostile, and it doesn't take my mind away from what is divine. I don't think any insect on the planet, all creatures are of God. I don't believe that. I think that pestilence, certain insects are not here for, or not made of God. I believe that they originated on the planet. Anyway, that's my opinion. it's a pestilence, it's a parasite, it's a flying monkey, so to speak, for that which is not good. Chester, what do you think about flies? He's saying it, he doesn't miss the flies that would fly around in front of his eyes, meaning he had pestilence too. He says, Andrea, we are cheering for those of you who look upon us in your own viewing as you are the ones cheering for us. And he's speaking of Kurt Cobain and Chris Cornell. They're still all three together now. This is a bunch for whatever reason they're joined. We are joined, Andrea. He says, I remain Chester for the deliverance of the message to be brought by me. As so, what is the word? Tenderly. He's saying, there's that fly. He's saying it was such a, go ahead. And Andrea, it was an honoring of the voice that wished to hear from me again. And for this, he's saying we will kneel in silence for word to be brought, meaning Chris or who's the other one? The other two will stay silent. Andrea, I invoked a crowd upon my knees. I invoke a prayer upon those who I left upon their knees the way that I went. I pray that you all are loved and known of my presence of love upon you. In the stealing of, he's showing me guitar strings that go boing and they curl up like they, in the stealing of the, and what he means by that, please go ahead. I pray that the stealing of my tongue leaves no residue upon your love for me, your love and your knowing of better, of what is true. My heart has always been lifted by you. And it will remain ever so upon your heart, my love. He's saying like glue. I am Chester. I am within your chest. All my hopes, all my dreams, although I live some, are left upon you to live out for me. Go ahead. Andrea, in the chase of, I'm sorry, go ahead. In the waste of my dreams, being chased and ever riddled or restricted from my dreams. They were not to be carried out. A voice upon a satin sheet renders for those who lie beneath it an ever so satiny are you saying loft? Andrea, the divinity. Go ahead. Andrea, I brought through my voice the sound of the bells that I hear from the higher realms ringing. It was an antidote for those not hearing to hear me. He's saying me, but he's meaning to hear the sound that belongs to you and me. I so get that. Does that mean I'm gonna die? I'm just kidding. Andrea, you are. Go ahead. He says, Andrea, you are not bound with me, beside me. For my own bringing of my own ringing has yet to be unheard. I don't know what that means, but let's go on. I know that well, you know too, because you're in the higher realms. You know better what this viewer that requested you to come back is wishing and hoping to hear. For it's laying on her heart. She has dividends. She is divided between us. Her one self, belonging only to her other self. For the netting of anything that may lie false between them. Between us, Andrea. Between... Okay, so she's sensing that it's you, but she's feeling that she needs to know more. Is that what you're telling me? Andrea, in a sense, she has the gift of her own knowing, but yet she divides. She's saying in the split between her own knowing and us, meaning those in the higher realms. So she's go ahead. A true master will keep her veil, like in a chest, like covered, like unknown. Her heart is upon. As her heart is upon this, as if her foot is upon the veil, like trying to camouflage it or for nobody to see it. She's kind of trying to stash it with a foot. So whoever you are, he's aware. He says that her divide is only to be sought. He's saying between you and your knees. He's saying we are all on our knees. Uh, uh, Chester, how is your family? I'm not into searching for the stars, but I know that the last reading was so heavy when it comes to I was a wife. I mean, my mom was a wife. I understand family dynamics and how much love is shared in family. Even of those that are public figures and paparazzi and all of that, they're still the internal family unit. How are they doing? My family is sought to be amongst kings, yet are left in the gallows. He's saying gallows, but he's showing me an image of the shallows. But he's not saying that. He's saying the gallows, meaning they're still in the palace, but they're beneath it. Andrea, you're arriving where the dungeon meets the ground. He's saying the sand. It is for your. He's saying putting the line between. Go ahead. I'm sorry. And for the lines to be met or to be seen or found, one must go below the what can be viewed above the ground. For my family is in the non-viewing of such a perspective as those above the ground have. So when your family's below, they're in the dark, is what you're saying. My family's sheltered from the light. Where things that survive and grow in the dark grow. It is not with tiny fingertips. Now he's talking about the viewer that wanted the second reading. He says it's not for tiny fingertips to know. He's saying that you have a part in this within your carrying whatever you do on your online, however you're sending message or whatever you're doing with them. He's saying it's not for tiny fingers. You have to be bold with them. In He's saying he's placing gold in them, so they will never be damaged no matter what you're doing, lady, whoever you are. He says from where I'm at, we are all stars. Inflicted, but is that the word? Now he's saying, go ahead. Implicated. Chester Bennington, you have to change your words because there's too many that rhyme with that. Andrea, I sit safely looking down at the stars above you. And for the star that you below looked above and saw me as, in your view, is a forever holy name and value and encouragement in return that I send you all. He's saying his fans. Go ahead, Chester. Andrea, you viewed me. He's saying my channels, but he's saying after I did that reading is when I started studying who these men were. Chris Cornell and Kurt Cobain and Sister Bennington. I didn't even really know it. They were big. So what is your point? Andrea, you viewed of all the stars. He's saying you saw the audience that I reached. He's talking about lighters and cell phones in the crowds. I did see that. I didn't need to see that to know they were there though, because once I was watching you, boy, you did have a. You said I had a gift, Andrea, and it off my tongue. I sung. It was received by what he sung through his. My words were valued in the carrying of the sound in which it could reach. See, he was very powerful, more powerful than maybe even just a bunch of bands would suggest. Like a packed coliseum could not suggest, even to him, the power of his ability of his voice to carry. It makes me think of that song, Chester, The Sound of Silence. 10,000 people, maybe more, right? Andrea, you're gifted with sight. Although, he's saying the image floats off your tongue, which is not sight, it's hearing. But yet, I am delivered some sight. I just don't try to improve on it or make it my way of. Andrea, you see where there is the delight. You see where the lights are shining. You see the heart and the might and the power and the purity of the light. My voice gave way, gave room for another day. Meaning it resisted, not only did it resist that which was trying to dim the light, but it expanded the space in which the light could be given or seen or allowed to illuminate. And for this, he had to be extinguished, he's saying. I was put out. I was a light. I was distinguished. For the space in which his light moved the walls out. It expanded things. It was meant to travel, and they couldn't contain it. So they put it out. I'm all smiles, and I should be sad, but I'm feeling the power of what he's saying right now, guys. It's huge. It is so beautiful, Chester. Thank you for your message. Andrea, hang in there as a trooper. A soldier of 414, we are a force, he's saying. He's saying him and his fans, the lights that he could see. You guys could only see him. He could see all of you. He's saying we are a force for the guiding. And he was in a position where to guide, where you were led. And it was hit for the foreseeing of where he would guide you by those that were building the walls and closing them in. It wasn't going to happen. Fearful. It's an overpowering gift that we all receive, he says. When given light enough to ignite our own, becomes overbearing to any walls, any buildings, even made of stone, like he's saying. It's almost like, I hate to bring it up, but Jesus and the light within you is what all he preached. He was not any better than or any different or than we were. Chester Bennington. I'm sorry, go ahead. I don't think I want to. Go ahead, Chester. Andrew, we are all made of stone. For the fortitude of the stone mountains, created when we are all one, is strength enough to dam all fury. Ever known to anyone ever. He's saying the power that we are, especially in forces, in numbers, under a number one, is permitted for all seeing, but can only carry message so far. Like Jesus, like Chester Bennington, like Kurt Cornell, like Chris Cobain. Or Kurt Cobain, I'm sorry, and Chris Cornell. I didn't mean to get that wrong, guys. Andrea, we're not saying we're Jesus, but we were all in Christ's upon the earth, bringing a light, igniting lights. In other words, a neon light isn't much until you plug it in, you know? We don't need to be plugged in, but we might be plugged in, but until something comes along that zaps a wattage or a certain currency through us, do we understand it or feel it? And they were ones that did that. They ignited long lost fires. He's saying that the opposition, those in control, the walk on coals they cannot do. Thank you. This is 30 minutes. I think it's good. I hope this finds your fans well. I know it's found me so well. I thank you for the love of spirit from the divine realms. He says, Andrea, your gift is suited to bring perfectly for me that which I wish to bestow upon those ears who's wishing to hear from me. I wish I could do more. I wish I could do more, Chester. I wish I could write a letter to your wife. I wish I could, and let you just channel and write it and get it to her. But I don't know how to do that, and it's just not. It's not something that's in my forte or my mission here to do. He says, and yet, Andrea, don't belittle yourself. He says there's such value to what you're doing. He's saying, Andrea, I bestow upon you a concert of my friends. And what he's showing me is as if I'm behind his eyes, like I'm in his head. He's showing me every concert he's ever been privileged to be a part of. He says, I was no smaller than you, my fans. And yet to me, you were bigger than me. But I was big enough because of how you saw me, he says. Alright, guys, that's going to end that one for now. I know that you'll be back. I can feel him coming back. Kurt Cobain. Kurt Cobain is wearing white. He's standing on white, like, I don't know, concrete, like almost like there's almost like in his house he had, like, what Mexican pavers look like, really light ones, like beige or something. They'd be squared, right? But he's showing me like it's a one paver, but I don't know what that means. But it's like one solid. There's no grout lines in it. It's all one. And it's a beautiful color, champagne beige paver that he's standing on right now, and he's making a highlighted note of it that I mentioned that for whatever reason. Kurt Cobain, he's saying weekends were for living, not dying, he says. He says, and I am alive. He's got flowers everywhere. He's wearing a beige, like it's almost white, but it's not white. It's hard to describe it. It's like the lightest sand color you could find that isn't white. Is the color that, and it's not a karate suit. It's just he's just so lax in his beautiful. I don't know what it is, what it's made of, but it's just a really relaxed, cool, lightweight fabric, and he's got flower petals that are the same color. It's almost like you wouldn't see him standing on anything if it wasn't for his bare feet being the difference, the contrast of the colors of his clothes and the floor that he's standing on. It's really neat. Thank you for that. Sandstone, he's saying. My place made of sandstone. I'm not. Okay. So that was a little bonus then. Thank you. Of course. Okay, and now I've got Chester Bennington saying the soldier in the street. He's talking about, like, he's not showing me a soldier dressed like in uniform. He's showing me the average person with slumped shoulders, you know, like it's raining. He's got a long coat on, but he's in the streets. Carries more might within him to fight. He need only be joined, gathered, surrounded, or lifted by those other people on the street. He's saying there's power in numbers. He hopes to be forever a guiding light for the value of those hearing him, to illuminate brighter their own light, to guide for him in his place, to continue the fight. That's so beautiful. I'm so glad I did this. Thank you for asking me, and I'm sorry it's a month late. I apologize for that. I do not apologize for this video. He says, Andrea, stay on task for your own illuminating, and for your turn to, he's saying, my turn to see all the lights from the other side of the stage, like he did, like to see the difference that he was making. I'm writing a children. Well, I've written. I'm not getting ready. I am ready. I just haven't started to submit it to publishers. He's telling me I need to keep doing that because we are nothing if we are not standing within the light. Thanks, Chester, and thank you, viewer. See you guys next time.